हरिहंत सिद्ध सुर उपाध्याय साधु सर्व अर्थ के प्रकाशी मांगलिक उपकारी है। तीन को स्वरूप जानी रागते भई जो भक्ति काय को नमाय स्तुति को उच्चारी है। धन्य धन्य तुम से काज सब आज भयो कर जोरी बारंबार वंदना हमारी है। मंगल कल्याण सुख ऐसो हम चाहते हो मेरी ऐसी दशा जैसी तुम धारी है। हो मेरी ऐसी दशा जैसी तुम धारी है। So today would be the last class in this semester, and today we are going to discuss Samet Shikharji, Eternal Pilgrimage Site Samet Shikhar. Okay. Shashwat Tirth Dham Samet Shikhar. So in this particular topic today, we are going to discuss what do you mean by Tirth. Tirth means ford, F-O-R-D, ford. So what is a tirth? What is real tirth? What is conventional tirth? Then something about the cosmology, Hunda Spernikal, which is again, what do you call it? Disordered descending era, Hunda Spernikal, or it is also called anomalous descending cycle. Okay. So there are some peculiarities to this kind of time that also we are going to discuss. Then the importance of Samet Shikharji, and then the history, geography, and the science of Samet Shikharji, that also we are going to discuss. We are also going to touch upon the lives of a monk, what they do, what is their primary objective, and how do they do it. And then, of course, the ultimate topic would be Dhyan. Dhyan is meditation. Okay. So something on the meditation also. And the last of all, why this pilgrimage should be, the sanctity of this pilgrimage should be maintained. It should not be converted into a picnic spot or a place where you get all kinds of luxuries. Okay. Let it be what it is, and that will only carry forward the legacy of the Tirthankars and the Acharyas and the monks who have done their spiritual journey over here and going forward, just because this is a eternal pilgrimage site. So uh, the sanctity of this place had to be maintained. That is our collective moral responsibility. Okay. And whenever we go to a pilgrimage site like this, we should always check the vibes, because the monks have written scriptures sitting over there. The monks have done their meditation over there. The monks have done passed their life over there. So you can really connect to the vibes of those areas, and you can realize that how the life of a monk would be. Okay. Just by going there and enjoying those moments in the open, the jungle, forest, there you can check how the life of a monk should be. No worldly contacts, nothing, nobody come here and there. So they reside in such places only because their primary objective is for the meditation of the self, and for that they need not any kind of disturbances. So very interesting discussion, considering the kind of modernization that's happening across this sacred pilgrimage, Samet Shikharji. It is our moral duty to maintain the sanctity and the purity of that place. That should be our objective. Himali, you can write an article on this, based on this article, very relevant in today's time. So
I've written about this, sir. I'll share it.
okay, good. You share
Especially
in the
about
class.
Darshana Ben, who was, constantly fasting for the preservation of Samet Shikharji. She
Okay.
passed away recently.
Oh, okay. So she did work for uh, saving Samit Shikharji from getting into modernized kind of thing. That was his theme.
Yes, sir.
Oh, great. Okay, so eternal pilgrimage site, Samit Shikharji. So first, what is real ford and what is conventional ford? So real ford would be, uh, this is real ford means from the real point of view, what a ford is. So basically the meaning of the word ford is that which when taken refuge in enables noble souls to cross over the ocean of worldly existence and attain liberation. Okay, हिंदी में we say that जो तारे वह तीर्थ. Okay, so that takes you to cross over the ocean of worldly existence is a tirth. Tirth here means ford. Okay, so this is the definition of ford. And now when we consider ford from the real point of view, our pure soul is the number one ford. Then three jewels or three gems. Okay, Samyak Darshan, Samyak Gyan, Samyak Charitra. Then if we go further, then passionless religion, detachment. Then we go further, true God, true scriptures, true monks. All these are ford from the real point of view. Then what is the ford from the conventional point of view? So those religious places where the monks had done their spiritual meditations, okay, where they have written scriptures, all those places, sacred places where the five auspicious events have happened, Panchkarnak. Then from where people have got liberated, those are also uh, conventional ford. Then there are some miraculous places, Atishay Kshetra, it's called Atishay Kshetra. So those are also conventional ford. Then there are some places which are renowned for their art. So those are also pilgrimage, we can say. Then those places where monks have written their scriptures, where scriptures have been preserved, where manuscripts have been preserved, like places like Mudbadri, where you can still find original Talpatri, And then there are some places like Gomteshwar Bahubali, where massive statues are erected, and for that these temples are very famous, you know. And then ultimately coming to the Jinvani, it's also a Vyavhar Tirth, and Divya Dhvani, Agam, Parmagam, Jinobdesh, preachings. These are all conventional ford. Okay. So this is all we are going to discuss in the first 4-5 pages. So let's start reading. Maltiji, we begin with you.
Yes, sir. Es sura sura manusinda vandidam do the gai
Kamamalamma,
kamamalam panamami
Vad
vadhamanam stitham
Titham
dhammasa
Dhammasa Kataram.
kattaram sura asura indra narendra vandita karma vana nirmala karana व्रस्तीर्थ के कर्तरा श्री वर्धमाना जिन सता सता नमन. I bow to Tirthankar, Lord Vardhaman, venerated by Surendras, Lord of Celestials, Asurendras, Lord of Infernals, and Narendras, rulers among men, who washes away the impurity in the form of destructive karmas, Ghatiya karmas, and is the establisher of the religious Lord, Dharm Tirth. In the auspicious invocation, Manglacharan of Pravachansar, Acharya Kunkun refers to Lord Vardhaman as the establisher of the religious fort, Dharam Tirth. The very etymology of the word Tirthankar is this: Tirtham karoti iti Tirthankara. The one who establishes a fort, Tirth, is a Tirthankar. If those who establish a fort are called Tirthankars, then the question naturally arises, what is a fort, Tirth? That which when taken refuges in, that which when taken refuge in, enables noble souls, Bhavya Jeev, to cross over the ocean of worldly existence and attain liberation, moksha, is called a fort. By taking refuge in one's own divine self, Nij Bhagwan Atma, one attains right belief, Samyak Darshan, knowledge, Gyan, and conduct, Charitra. along with the experience of infinite non-sensory bliss. Therefore, the divine self itself is the supreme fort, Param Tirth, as expressed in the following lines of the Siddh Chakra Mandal Vidhan. Nij Atma Roop Su तीर्थ मगर नित सारस आनंद धरा हो नसे त्रिविधा मला सकला दुखमया भव जलादि के परे हो. Meaning, the true food is in the form of one's own self, Atma, ever flowing with a fresh stream of bliss, Anand. It destroys the threefold impurities and ferries the soul across the ocean of worldly existence filled with suffering. In the above lines, one's. Should I continue, sir?
Yes, yes.
In the above lines, one's own divine self has been described as the true food. It is only by taking refuge in the divine self that right belief, knowledge, and conduct arise. For knowing the divine self is called right knowledge, establishing a sense of belonging in the divine self is called right belief, and being absorbed in the divine self is called right conduct. The unity of right belief, knowledge, and conduct is itself the path to liberation, moksha, the sole means of crossing the ocean of worldly existence. Therefore, right belief, knowledge, and conduct are also fords, tirths in their own right. In this context, the following statement from the Tavla is noteworthy. Dhammo nama samma dhamsana nana charitani edehi samsara sayaram taranti tithi edani titham. Dharma means right belief, right knowledge, and right conduct. Through these, one crosses the ocean of worldly existence. Hence, they are called fords, tirths. In the both Pahud, Acharya Kund Dev has described right belief, knowledge, conduct, and austerity in the form of pure dharma as a ford. The original verse from the both Pahud is as follows. Jamma Nimalam Sudammam Sammatara Samjamam Tavam Nanam Tam Tirtham Jina Maggam Bhaveda Jari Santi Bhavena. That pure dharma comprising right belief, knowledge, self-restraint, sayam, and austerity, when embraced with tranquility of mind on the path of the jina alone, is considered a fourth, tirth. The only difference between the statements of the Dhavla and the Bodh Pahud is that where the Dhavla includes conduct, charitra, and Bodh Pahud refers instead to self-restraint, sayam, and austerity, tab. Since self-restraint and austerity are themselves forms of conduct, there remains, in essence, no real difference between the two statements. The unavoidable pure disposition, orientation, and restrained conduct that arise in detached Vitragi sayings due to the absence of Anantanubandhi, Apratyakhyan Varna, and Pratyakhyan Varna Kashayas, types of passions, is called self-restraint, Sayam. And the ever-increasing inner purification brought about by intense, self-directed spiritual effort, Atmanonmukhi Ugra Purusha, along with the corresponding orientation and rigorous conduct, is called austerity. Both are, in essence, forms of right conduct. In the above statements, on one hand, the soul is referred to as a four, and on the other, the three jewels, Ratsans Rai, that arise from taking refuge in the self are also called fours. However, in the Yogsar, Munira Sri Yogendra Dev describes the soul endowed with the three jewels as the Lord. His original statement is as follows. Rayanatya samjuta ju utti mutirtu pavittu. Mokham karana joe anu na tamtu na mamtu. The Hindi Padya Anuvad is as follows. The soul endowed with the three jewels alone is the fourth, Tir. It alone is the cause of liberation. Neither mantra nor tantra is. Thus, it is established that right belief, knowledge, and conduct, which arise by taking refuge in one's divine self, are in themselves dharma, fourth, and the path to liberation, moksha. And those who establish this path are known as the Tirthankars. The supremely sacred speech of the Tirthankar lords, the divine sound, Divyadvani, as well as the sacred literature composed on the basis of that divine sound is also referred to as a fourth. For the speech of the Jinvani, the supreme canon, Paramagam, and the scripture, Agam, all serve as potent instrumental causes in ferrying noble souls across the ocean of worldly existence. In this context, the following statement from the Sanskrit commentary on Acharya Pujapad's Samadhi Sataka is noteworthy. Just as Tirthankaras are called fords because they serve as causes for crossing the ocean of worldly existence, in the same way, the scriptures, Agam too is called a ford for being such a cause. In the Moolachar, while discussing material lords, Dravya Tirths, and spiritual forts, Bhav Tirths, all Jinvar Devas are described as spiritual forts, Bhav Tirths. The original verses from the Moolachar are as follows. A fort is of two types, material, dravya, and spiritual bhav, distinguished by their respective characteristics. A material fort is defined by three key features. It pacifies afflictions, destroys cravings, and purifies the filth of defilement. All Jin Dev are endowed with belief, knowledge, and conduct, and for this very reason, they are known as spiritual forts, bhav tirths. In the Purushartha Siddhupai, Acharyas, just like the Tirthankaras, are also described as the promulgators of the spiritual fort, Dharm Tirth. The verse reads, Mukhyapacharya Vivaran Nirasta Dustar Vinay Durbodha. Vyavahara Nishchay Gyan Pravartayante Jagati Tirtham. Those who, through the exposition of real Nishchay and conventional Vyavahar, have destroyed the formidable ignorance in humble disciples, such acharyas who are experts in the conventional viewpoint and the real viewpoint are the ones who establish the spiritual fort Dharm Tirth in this world. In this way, we observe that in the Jain scriptures, Jain Agam, not only the three jewel forms of Dharma, Ratantraya, Rup Dharma, but also of the God, Dev, scriptures, Shastra, and preceptors, Guru, have been regarded as forts and their promulgators. Among the Devas, not only the Tirthankar lords, but also the ordinary Jinavar Devs are included. The direct instrumental cause that helps in crossing the worldly existence are the divine self, Nij Bhagwan Atma, the Dharm in form of three jewels, Ratnatre Rupa Dharm, the God, scriptures, and preceptors, Dev, Shastra, Guru. Hence, they are the real force, Nishchay Tirths.
Stop. So far, we have discussed Ford from the real point of view. Okay. In this whole discussion, we in the initial, I said from the real point of view, what is Ford? That is pure soul, then the three jewels, then passionless religion, and then lastly the Dev Shastra Guru. So just now we read from Pursat Siddhi Upaya about Acharyas are also called Ford, then scriptures are also called Ford, and of course the Jinendra Dev are always called the fort. So this is all from the conventional point of view. Now this is all from the real point of view. Now from the conventional point of view, we are going to discuss about the places and all. So that discussion is going to start now. So Amitaji, you can start that, the conventional. However, at the conventional level,
Thank you. However, at the conventional level, those supremely sacred places are also called forts where these Dev Shastra Guru engaged in self-realization, Atma Aradhana, where scriptures were composed or where they were preserved. While discussing conventional forts, the Sanskrit commentary on Bodha Pahud states, is it okay if I skip those,
yeah,
sir? Thank you. Urjayanta Satrunjaya um, Urjayanta Shatrunjaya Lat Desh Pavagiri Adi Vyavhar Tirth hai. And similar places renowned in the world and touched by the lotus feet of liberated souls are conventional forts, Vyavhar Tirth, as they are causes for the attainment of the real ford, Nishchay Tirth. These are the sites of the five auspicious events, Panchakalyanaks, of the Tirthankars. All such forts that exist upon the earth are worthy of veneration, for they serve as causes for the destruction of karma. Those supremely sacred places are called forts where one's own divine soul is worshipped, where the three jewel dharma ratnatraya is practiced, where Tirthankars and others have attained liberation, where the five auspicious events, Panchakalyanaks of the Tirthankars, have taken place, where the scriptures, Agam, and supreme scriptures, Param Agam, were composed, where passionless Vitrag saints dwell, and where those saints engage in self discipline, and spiritual striving. Today, the entire world primarily regards places like Summit Shikhar, etc., as tirth, and they undertake pilgrimages to these places in the name of tirth and engage in self worship, Atma Dharma, in these places. However, no one is aware that the divine self itself is a tirth, that the three jewel form of Dharma is also a tirth, that the Jin Devas are tirth, the Jin Vani, voice of the Jina, is tirth, and the Jina temples are also tirth. Due to the primary location, these are also referred to as pilgrimage sites, Tirtha Kshetra. Owing to the diverse reasons behind their establishment, they are classified into various categories Vitrag, Vitragi, such as liberation sites, Siddha Kshetra, miraculous sites, Atishay Kshetra, artistic sites, Kala Kshetra, and auspicious event sites, Kalyana Kshetra, among others. Places from where Tirthankars or other ordinary Kevalis attain liberation are known as liberation sites, Siddha Kshetras. Those places where one or more of the five auspicious events, Panchakalyanaks, of the Tirthankars occurred are called auspicious event Kalyanak Tirthas. Some places come to be regarded as Tirtha due to the presence of grand Jina images, Jin bimbas. Jain Badri is recognized as a tirth solely because of the massive statue of Gometeshwara Bahubali. Likewise, Moodbidri is considered a tirth owing to the presence of Jain bimbas made of precious gems and preservation of original manuscripts of texts like the Dhavala and other. Khajuraho and Devgarh are regarded as tirths for their artistic brilliance. They are especially renowned as artistic pilgrimage sites, Kalatirthas. Some pilgrimage sites are associated with astonishing or miraculous events and are therefore known as miraculous sites. Atishay Kshetra. Mahavirji, Chandanpur, Padma Prabhaji, Bara, and Chandra Prabhaji are
Ti-
examples of such sites.
Tijara.
Tijara, yes. Sorry, sir. In recent times, some new tirtha are also being developed due to various reasons. In this way, taken together, there are more than 300 pilgrimage sites and over 10,000 Jain temples across India. Each one is supremely sacred place for the worship and practice of dharma. These tirtha kshetras and Jain mandiras are the foundation pillars of the Jain culture, the focal points of reverence for the Jain community, and powerful basis for social unity and integrity. It is due to these very sites that the Jain community of North India travels across East, West, and South India. The community of South India likewise visits East, West, and North. In the same way, the community of Eastern India undertakes pilgrimages to the North, South, and West, and the community of Western India journeys to the north, south, and east of the country. The focal points of the pilgrimage for the Jain community include in the east, Summit Shikhar and other liberation sites, Siddha Kshetra, along with the caves of Udaygiri and Khandagiri in the west, Girnar, Shatrujay, and similar tirths in the north, Hastinapur and the like in the south, Jain Bidri and Mood Bidri in the central India, artistic tirths, Kala Tirth, such as Khajuraho and Devgarh. Touching upon these very focal points, the Jain community of India continues to meet and connect with one another through its pilgrimages, nurturing and deepening fellowship among co-religionists, Sadharmi Vatsalya. These pilgrimage sites are the sole means of uniting Sadharmi brothers and sisters residing in far-flung regions. They not only strengthen social unity, but also serve as bridges for national integrity. Indeed, all tirth are supremely sacred. However, those tirths that are associated with five auspicious events, Panchakalyanaks of the Tirthankars, hold special significance for the Tirthankars, are the very originators and spiritual guides of the Jain philosophy and Dharma. Among the auspicious event pilgrimage sites, those sites that are the places of liberation of the Tirthankars are considered most important as liberation is the ultimate goal, the supreme attainment.
Stop,
Summit Shikhar.
stop.
Thank you.
So now we will study about the importance of Samit Shikharji. But so far we had a general idea what is Ford from the real point of view, what is Ford from the conventional point of view. Very detailed discussion. I think they have covered out everything. And after describing the various pilgrimage sites which are famous for different purpose, like miraculous sites and artistic sites and auspicious event sites and liberation sites. After all, they also realized as the importance of the co-religionist, the meeting point, powerful basis for social unity and integrity. That is also very important, nowadays, because we are shrinking in terms of community. Like if you consider how many are ready to do in today's time Swadhyay. So we have a very limited group who are into this kind of studies. But if you say pilgrimage site and going to the temple, creating a temple, then you will find more people. And then if you go at a general level, then more people. And if you then talk about the sensual pleasures, then there will be more people who will be participating. So from that perspective, visiting a pilgrimage site is again a powerful base for social unity and integrity. And famous places east, west, north, south have also been highlighted. And the best part was deepening fellowship among co-religionists. Okay, so every time you travel, you meet new people, and then you make a friendship. Then you come to know that, oh, they are into this kind of studies and they do this and that. So we learn from each other. So that is again a very good point that have been raised, that it's not the places that we visit, but how do we interact with our fellow co-religionists and what do we learn from them. Again, it's a source of inspiration. Okay, so these pilgrimage sites are the sole means of uniting Sadharmic brothers and sisters residing in far-flung regions. So many people have this inclination to visit new places, and just because they want to visit new places, not for the purpose of religion, but they do this in a manner like two in one. So they will visit those places also, and at the same time their personal interest of visiting new places along with religion. So recently I was talking to somebody, so they are going on a spiritual this pilgrimage visit, 10-15 days, and in between they have planned a Goa also. I said, why Goa? Well, in Goa also there are, Digambar Jain temple. I
Very
said,
true.
oh, okay, very true. So they do such things two in one. So I realized that at the end of the day, they want to visit new places. Most of these religious places that we discuss now, nobody does Swadhyay over there. Even if you go to Shikharji, only at few places the swadhyayas are being done. Otherwise, nothing. Only the idols are there, the pujaris are maintaining it, the trustees are spending money for renovations, and like people like us go and offer donations over there. So it's a full-fledged, I can say, industry, right? But we are not concerned. Let that be also side by side happening. But the real importance is you go to a particular place, stay there for 10 days, 15 days, 30 days, how much whatever you can, and same place you explore, you go to the mountains and see how the life of a monk would be, what would transpire a monk to remain in these places, and the kind of pollution free areas are these. It's really the kind of vibes that you will get over there. It's something which cannot be explained through words, So definitely you should go to pilgrimage visit, but not one day here, next day here, third day here, fourth day here. No, not that way. Go to one place only, one place at a time, but stay there for 10, 15 days and try to, explore the places from the perspective of doing sadhana, spiritual meditation. So that would be a good thing. So we discussed the conventional form of fords also.
So here they have written Jain Badri is because of Gomateshwar Bahubali. Jain Badri is different, Gomateshwar Bahubali is different. They are two different feats.
Ravan Bell Gol.
अच्छा, and they have not mentioned Ayodhya. अयोध्या में तो आदिनाथ भगवान का जन्म हुआ है.
Yes.
And पांच
many
तीर्थ
other
स्थल
places,
पर-
many other places. So they have covered many few places, but there are
But
many
it's
other
nice.
places also. In
Yeah.
Gujarat also there are some places, Mount Abu is there in Rajasthan,
Yes,
and then
yes.
we have Delwada and all.
Pavapuri itself, I
Yes.
think, is not mentioned here.
Pavapuri is mentioned.
Pavapuri is there.
because it's a
Yeah.
Panchkarnak site, no? So Mahavir
There
Bhagwan's
weren't
lip,
stans
Mahavir
of
Bhagwan.
Mahavir Bhagwan, sir.
so that has been mentioned, but
Yeah.
many other places have not been mentioned. But the idea
But
is
each of these places are very good to go to. They really give you a very good effect. आप
yes,
कह
yes.
रहे हैं सर स्वाध्याय नहीं करते हैं, पर वहां जाने का भी एक पुण्य तो होता ही है. मतलब बहुत
हाँ,
अच्छा लगता
see,
है.
Punya to, we are not doing anything for Punya, but thing is that if you go there, then go with this purpose that you want to go and sit there
Be
for
there.
say
Yes.
10 days, 5 days, whatever you find,
Yes.
It's not that going to this place one day and next day another, because I feel the pratimas are all same everywhere. They are
True.
all Vitragi, right? So much of traveling, spending so much on, you know, uh, consuming so much of petrol, and then so many hardships you undertake. But why not stay at one place and do things, But because internally they have there in this mind, if we visit more places, then more punya will get more punya, and with those punya we will get the object of sensual pleasures, comforts in our life, money, wealth, many purposes. So we are not getting into that. What I was placing emphasis on, that you should go, but go from this perspective, that
True.
how the monk would have done. Suppose you go to Pavapuri, so what Mahavir Bhagwan would have done here? From that perspective, if you think, then you will get lot of insights in terms of meditations, So that would be
Yes.
a great study when you visit such sites. Now, after discussing all this, background has been created. Now they are going into the discussion of the importance of Samit Shikharji, because the book itself is dedicated to Samit Shikharji. So now the discussion on Samit Shikharji is starting. And before that, we had a very good discussion on the Ford from the real point of view and Ford from the conventional point of view. Okay.
Sir,
So
may I say something?
Yes. One by one.
Yeah, Ali say.
No, Madhuji, you go first.
Okay. So where is this Urjenta and Lata Desa? It's
I don't
mentioned.
know. I also read it
Even I'm
here
not
for the
very
first
sure
time.
about that. Okay, sir.
You can
Okay.
search in Google, you will find it.
Yeah, right. Yes. Thank you, sir.
But I have not been to those places and I have not heard also.
Satunjay and Pavagiri, we know.
Yeah.
Right.
Satrunjay, Pavapuri, yeah, we all know
Yeah.
that.
Yes.
Okay. Now, Himali, you were asking something?
No, sir, I was just saying that, for instance, sir, you were talking of this commercial industry.
Yes.
Sir, I had about a year ago, I had gone to Ranakpur. This was for an article only, when one monk told me that on a particular night, tribals of that region, they enter the compound of Ranakpur Mandir. And so they have a whole like fun and fair kind of a thing where there are stalls put up, and these, they sell all their stuff. And over there only, sir, they drink alcohol. Then they actually, from the compound on the sides there are lots of trees. So a man and a woman, they will all be drunk, and then uh, an unmarried man and an unmarried woman go inside those bushes and those trees and all of that, and they, coapulate, and then they say, okay, they come out in the morning and they say, okay, now we are married. So, and the next day is the day when they change the dhaja of the temple.
Oh.
And so the Pandit of the temple, he actually has become so rich. He has set up like a resort very close to the
Hmm.
outside the temple, like outside the gates of
Hmm.
the temple. But he has set up this, and he does not allow the pedi to do any kind of renovation work inside, the areas where we can stay. So
Right.
they are so horrible, sir. Like if you will sleep over there on the mattress, there'll be bed bugs that will bite you. So I also stayed over there. The loos are all, they're typical, means old पुराने जमाने के वो Indian style loos है. So the old people can't even go and stay. So the Pandit himself says, आप यहाँ पे क्यों रहते हो, आप जाओ ना, ये रिसोर्ट में रहो, ये बहुत अच्छा है, वहाँ पे अच्छी सुविधा है, साफ
Hmm.
सुथरा है. So it has all become so bad because Jains are not going there. It is such a beautiful temple, but you will only find like one or two people going. It is in a very bad. It is a
All
beautiful.
it's same scenario everywhere, more or less, because as I said, there are no swadhyayis. If you don't understand what is Jinwani, then how you will be able to protect it. So you know only these rituals, and even in Shikharji there is a lot of things happening, these tribals and all. Now
Yes, sir.
this is also becoming a,
Yeah.
place for what you call trekking. People go for
Yeah,
their
trekking.
trekking. So
Yeah.
that also has been coming up, and everything is happening, as I said, like we are into now deteriorating time. So as we move on, things will become worse
So
to worse.
Ranakpur is in Udaipur, and Udaipur,
Yes.
half the belt is tribal. So they've been given the protection by the law to be doing all this. They
Yes,
can do
yes.
whatever are their customs and traditions, and the government cannot say anything about it. तो
Yeah, yeah.
इसीलिए सर रनकपुर टूरिस्ट प्लेस बन गया है. हम दर्शन करके आते हैं, वहां रुकने का तो कोई सोचता ही नहीं है.
Hmm.
रनकपुर इट्स जस्ट लाइक वी सी द आर्किटेक्चर. वो मूर्ति पे तो ध्यान कम जाता है, मतलब दर्शन तो कम होते हैं, वो
Right,
आर्किटेक्चर और वो
right.
देख के. और इट्स मोर ऑफ अ
Yeah,
टूरिस्ट प्लेस.
Yeah,
because
yeah,
from
yeah.
every pillar you can see Bhagwan
That's the
in
architecture.
Danapur. And so the Pedhi also, for instance, when I wrote this article,
Hmm.
the Pedhi itself is so strong. They called up our editors and they said that don't get this article published. This
Hmm.
Dilip Sanghvi of Sun Pharma and all, they are very
Hmm.
powerful. Arvind Mills
Ah,
person,
ha, ha, ha.
they don't allow these articles to get printed also. They call up and say, इसको नहीं print करना है.
Hmm.
So then my editor kind of tells me this is not a Jain newspaper. You want to, you
Hmm.
know, you please trash this article. We will not carry it.
Hmm. So it's all fine. So best part is we have got an opportunity. Let's get to the three jewels and uh, facilitate the path of liberation and get ultimately liberated. World will go on like this. You know, so see these all these places that we discussed now, nowhere, even if you go Pavapuri, anywhere, there is nothing called Swadhyay at all. You know, only those pratimas are there, and as you said, these Panditjis and Pujaris are maintaining it, and people are putting donations, and everything is running. But nobody knows what is the importance of this. How do you become a monk? How do you get liberated? The path of liberation, nowhere it is discussed. So this is like that only when maximum people, and if you consider Jains, how many Jains are there in total of India? Only 0.40%. So the total population in India as on today, the Jains are 0.40, and among them there are Svetambars, Digambars, Bispanthi, Terapanthi, Taranpanthi, Sthanagwasi. There are so many. So if we consider who are doing this Swadhyay, that group particular, then it is absolutely minuscule, absolutely minuscule. And yeah, it will be like that only. So our good luck is that our time has come. So let's get into this kind of studies, understand it very properly, manifest the three jewels, and get to the liberation. That is what we can do. Otherwise, wherever you go, this such abnormalities you will see everywhere, not one place, but everywhere. Sometimes it is exposed, sometimes it is not exposed, but things goes on. Even we don't like to discuss such things, that kind of things that goes on over there. So we don't like to discuss. But the thing is that everyone is aware of everything. But the thing is that we have to take the positives and see what we can derive from these places in terms of our spiritual progress.
And so, just one thing, and before, so it's in Udaipur, right? So first we went to Kesariyaji. So in Kesariyaji, sir, the Pandit actually doesn't even live in India. So there are two brothers, and they take turns to come and do puja, they with their children. They live in the US. But the money that they earn is so much that, every 3 years or something, one brother's turn ends, he goes back to the US with his children, and the other guy comes from the US with his children and cousins and all of that, and they do the puja. And then, they'll come and, they'll give you in puri like small packets of kesar, and they'll say, Kitna doge, so it's.
It's there, no problem. So you see how rare it is to get into this kind of study and understanding it properly. So most of the people are into those kind of things only. Okay, so now we move on to the importance of Samit Shikharji. Our main topic for today is Samit Shikharji. So now we are going to start what is the importance of Samit Shikharji. Okay, so Roshni, you can start reading. Samit Shikharji is the most significant.
Samit Shikharji is the most significant and supreme Tirthraj, king of pilgrimage sites, as it is the place of liberation, Nirvan Bhumi, for 20 Tirthankars of the present set of 24. While discussing the places of liberation of the Tirthankar, a verse from Mangalastak is recited. In the Nirvana Kand in Prakrit, this discussion is also presented as follows. Here is the Hindi Chandanuvad of the above Chandanuvad of the above Prakrit verse from Nirvana Kand. The above verses clearly convey that the first Tirthankar, Lord Adinath, attained liberation from Mount Kailash, the 12th Tirthankar, Lord Vasupujya from Champapur, the 22nd Tirthankar, Lord Neminath from Mount Girnar, and the 24th Tirthankar, Lord Mahavir from Pavapuri. The remaining 20 Tirthankars attained liberation from Samit Shikhar. Not only have 20 Tirthankars attained liberation from Samit Shikhar, but countless Muniraj have also achieved liberation from this very site. For this reason as well, this Tirthraj is truly great. In this context, the following doha is also noteworthy. The Siddh Kshetra Tirth is supreme, an exalted noble place. I eternally bow to Shikhar Samit, where sins are destroyed. Countless sages have attained liberation from the summit of this peak. I bow at their lotus feet, which relieve the agony of worldly existence. Samit Shikhar is not merely the sovereign among sacred sites, but an eternal abode of liberation, Shaswat Tirtham, for it is not only the site of liberation, Nirvan, for 20 Tirthankars of the current set of 24, Chovisi, but also the place from which countless Tirthankar and ascetic sages, Muniraj, have already attained liberation, and where in the future too, innumerable Tirthankars and sages shall attain moksha. As you're already aware, countless sets of 24 Tirthankars or Chovisis have manifested in Parakshetra till now, and innumerable more shall manifest in the future. It is also firmly established that every Tirthankar of Parakshetra takes birth in Ayodhya and attains liberation from moksha from Samit Shikhar. Thus, this Tirthraj, the sovereign among sacred sites, is sanctified by the liberation of innumerable Tirthankars, and beyond them an even vaster multitude of beings. Being the site of liberation, nirvana, for countless Muniraj, ascetic sages, Samet Shikhar is undoubtedly the most significant Tirthraj, the supreme pilgrimage site. Moreover, since innumerable Tirthankars and beyond them an even greater multitude of Muniraj shall also attain liberation from there in the future, it is not merely the most revered sacred site, but an eternal or Shaswat pilgrimage sanctuary. Here, a natural question may arise. If in Bharat Kshetra, all Tirthankars attained liberation only from Samet Shikhar, then why did 4 Tirthankars from the present set of 24 attain liberation from other places? If a few Tirthankars from the present set of 24 were not born in Ayodhya and did not attain liberation from Samet Shikhar, then the sole reason for this is the exception caused by the Hunda of Sarpini, the disordered descending era. After countless cycles of Avsarpini, descending time cycles, and Utsarpini, ascending time cycles, there occurs an anomalous descending cycle, Hunda Avsarpini, in which many such exceptions take place. The birth of daughters to Tirthankars, the dishonoring of Chakravatis, and other such occurrences are also exceptions peculiar to this Hunda Avsarpini. In this context, the following verse from the Parshva Puran is worth noting. To understand the nature of this cyclical time system comprising of Sarpini and Utsarpini, the following statement from the author's other work, Tirthankar Bhagwan Mahavir or Unka Sarvodaya Tirth, is particularly useful. Time repeats itself. This is a natural law and a scientific phenomenon. Just as day and night, fortnights and months, seasons and years continually recur, in the same way, centuries, millennia, and even countless spans of time also repeat themselves through certain natural laws. Within this great rotation of time, there arise inherent fluctuations, which in Jain terminology are known as Avsarpini, or descending half cycle, and Utsarpini, ascending half cycle. Where ascending half cycle gradually increases in excellence, descending half cycle decreases in the same order. Thus, Utsarpini is the phase of progressive rise, and Avsarpini is of gradual decline. Each of these, Utsarpini and Avsarpini, spans 10 Kodakodi sagars. Kodakodi is crore multiplied by crore. Sagar is a colossal unit of time. In this way, a complete Kalpakal comprises a total of 20 Kodakodi Sagar. And in every such Kalpakal, there occurred 2 sets of 24 Tirthankars, i.e., that is, two Chovisis. There are 6 divisions of the Avsarpini, descending time cycle. Sukma, utmost happiness and prosperity. Sukma, happiness. Sukma, mixed phase, more happiness, some misery. Sukma, mixed phase, more misery, some happiness. Dukma, misery. Dukma, utmost misery. Similarly, Utsarpini, or ascending half cycle of time, is also of 6 types. Dukma, Sukma, Sukma, Sukma. In these 6 divisions, the experience of happiness and misery aligns with their respective names. Here, the word sukh, or happiness, is used in the sense of worldly pleasures. Up to the 3rd period, there is predominance of such pleasures, so much so that the opportunities for spiritual progress do not even arise. The manifestation of Tirthankars occurs only in the 4th era, and the path to liberation, Moksha Marg, is also accessible only in this 4th period. From this perspective, the 4th period is of utmost importance. At the end of the 3rd period, 14 Kulkars, great primordial leaders, appear, and in the 4th period, 63 Shalaka Purush, or great illustrious beings, are born. The 63 Shalaka Purush are classified as follows: 24 Tirthankar, Bar Chakravarti, no Narayan, no Prati Narayan, and no Balbhadra. At present, the 5th era, Pancham Kal, of the Avsarpini time cycle is ongoing. In this period, neither Kulkars, primordial lawgivers, are born, nor do the 63 Shalaka Purush manifest. No soul attains liberation either. The lives and conduct of the 63 Shalaka Purush who are born in the fourth era, Chaturthakal, especially the Tirthankars, form the core narrative of the Jain Puran. In this way, infinite Kalpakas have passed, and infinite such cycles are yet to come. Accordingly, infinite sets of 24 Tirthankars have already appeared in this Bharat region, and infinite more will arise in the future. A similar arrangement exists in the Airavat region as well. However, the structure in the Viday region is somewhat different. There, the state of the fourth era, Chaturthakal, persists perpetually. In the context of the glory of the eternal Tirtharaj, Samet Shikhar, one more noteworthy point is this. Wherever a Tirthankar or Muniraj attains liberation, they remain seated directly above that very spot in the abode of liberated souls, Siddhashila, for infinite time, because the movement of liberated souls is avigraha, unbending, or without deviation or deflection. When we offer reverent salutations to Tirthraj Samet Shikhar, we should reflect deeply upon this truth, that right above the very spot where we stand, countless Siddhs, liberated beings, reside eternally. It is as if infinite Siddhas are seated directly above our heads. Such contemplation will surely stir a thrill within us. It will fill us with bliss, purify our inner dispositions, parinam, and render our pilgrimage truly successful and meaningful. Here, a question may arise. That it is stated in the scriptures that in the 4.5 million yojan expanse of the Siddhshila, there is not even an inch of space where a Siddh Bhagwan is not present. It is indeed certain that the one who becomes liberated abides in the Siddhshila directly in line with the location of their liberation. In such a situation, the entire 2.5 continents, Dai Dweep, would become Siddh Kshetra. There remains no such place from which at least one soul has not attained liberation. So, what special significance does the land of Samet Shikhar hold over our lands? Brother, the thing is that although all the places in the island of Jambudweep are sacred sites, the number of liberated souls, or siddhas, on the land of Samet Shikharji is much higher, because in every single space occupied by the siddhas, countless other siddhas also coexist. Secondly, Samet Shikhar is not just the place of liberation for ordinary monks, but also for countless Tirthankars. Therefore, it is the king of pilgrimage sites, Tirtharaj, and its special significance cannot be denied.
Stop. So you see the importance of Samet Shikharji. First part was that out of 24 Tirthankars, 20 always gets liberated from Samet Shikharji. That is one. And apart from that, countless monks, they also get liberated from there. So when, of course, the Tirthankar is there, the Samosaran is there, so many followers would also be there. So that from that perspective also, Samet Shikharji has got its own importance. And the another thing is that those who get liberated, so when a person is into meditating, a monk is into meditating and is about to get liberated, then he gets liberated from the same place from where he was sitting. Okay. So they go vertically up from there. They don't deviate anywhere. Okay. Some other contradictions are there about this. Someone is telling that no, they take 3 deviations and then they reach the Sila. But here again it is mentioned that no, they straightway go because soul's nature is of Urdhvagaman Sabhav, to go up only, you know. So from that perspective, all the Dhai in each and every place from all the Dhai, one particular soul must have gone to Siddh Kshetra. So everywhere there, but Samet Shikhar has got his own importance because except from the Hunda Auspanical, all other time, all the 24 Tirthakars are born in Ayodhya and they get liberated from Samit Shikharji only. This is a rule. Only because this is an abnormal time, Hunda Auspanical, these things have happened that only 20 have gone to liberation from Samit Shikharji.
Sir, it says Vigra Gati, so that means they go straight.
Straight.
Okay.
So this is the difference of the course that we are doing. I've been to Shikharji. I gone with a group. तो जब दर्शन चरण के करते थे तो लोगों ने कहा कि ऊपर देख के भी दर्शन करो कि ऊपर सिद्ध भगवान है. मतलब they said कि I thought because भगवान तो ऊपर आसमान में ही है, that is where सिद्ध शिला. So I thought like that. But here the reason that is being given that same went on a direct सीधा trajectory to heaven. I mean, this is the difference. We do things just because people tell us to do things, but अभी थोड़ा समझ के कर सकते हैं.
तो सबका जर्नी ऐसा ही है. Now only the awareness has come just because we have got to this Jinwani, right? अगर हमको भी ये जिनवाणी नहीं मिली होती तो we would have been doing the same things, right? So that's why also we should first study ourselves, become an expert in them, and then share with others, because there are so many people who don't know about these things. So that way, again, it's our responsibility to do a proper study and then share it with others. Okay, so this is how the tradition would go, the lineage would happen in this way only. So we have also got, it has come to us through these Tirthankars and the monks and all the scholars, and we will also pass on to future generations. Okay, so now some descriptions about Samit Shikharji, geography and history about Samit Shikharji is coming up, so that we are going to discuss now.
Sir, in the what do you call it, universe, the central point is Mount Meru. So does Samit Shikhar coincide with Mount Meru, or they're completely different?
Mount Meru is different and Samit Shikhar is different.
Okay. So what is the significance of Mount Meru besides just being the
So
center
there
of the
are
universe?
some Jinalaya over there, Akrutim. No one has made it.
Okay.
So in that Nandishwar, we do that puja, no? So there are some temples over there which has not been made by anybody. It's eternal, it's all eternal. So Pancho Meru, 5 Merus are there. Yeah.
Panchameru karo pranam. There is this. But it is not in Bharat Kshetra, sir. That is in the different Kshetra. The Vedai kya Videsh Kshetra jahan pe
Nandishwar Deep, it's in the some other places.
Others place, yes.
This is Bharat Kshetra. Okay. So now let's go into the geography of Samit Shikharji. Yeah. The eternal Tirthraj Samit Shikhar, from there, Madhuji, you read. Unmute yourself.
Yes, sir. Thank you. This eternal Tirtharaj, Samit Shikhar, the supreme pilgrimage site, is located in Bharatavarsha, near the town named Giridi, in the province known as Jharkhand. This mountain lord is situated at an elevation of 4,279 feet above sea level, which is approximately 1,284 meters. This mountainous region spans an area of 40 square kilometers in a rectangular shape. At the summit of the mountain are the foot symbols, carved footprints of the 24 Tirthankaras. To offer reverence to these footpoints, pilgrims must ascend the mountain by walking approximately 10 kilometers, at the end of which they reach the first peak shrine, the 17th Tirthankar, Lord Kuntunath. Thereafter, to pay homage to all the shrines on peak, one must walk another 10 kilometers, ascending and descending along the way. Finally, one reaches the peak of the 23rd Tirthankar, Lord Pashnath. After this, a descent of 10 kilometers completes the route. In total, the pilgrimage spans a distance of approximately 30 kilometers. It is especially worth noting here that this path is not a smooth, level, or well paved route, rather, it is a rugged, uneven trail of rocky inclines and descents along the mountain terrain. Pilgrims ascend and descend this path barefoot. It cannot be completed in segments. Rather, the entire pilgrimage must be undertaken in a single stretch, as there is no place to halt or even spend the night either at the summit or anywhere along the way. Even if such a provision were to be made, no one would actually choose to stay there because all pilgrims consider the act of excreting waste on the mountain as a sinful deed. Despite all these challenges, thousands of pilgrims ascend this mountain daily to offer their reverent salutations to the liberated souls, Siddhas, which with hearts filled with devotion, they bow in worship, and through the strength of their spiritual intention, everything is accomplished with ease. Here, a question may naturally arise at the end of the sixth era. A cosmic dissolution, pralay, occurs, during which everything is disrupted and destroyed. In such a situation, how can it be asserted with certainty that this is indeed the very place from which countless Tirthankaras have attained liberation? Even after the cosmic dissolution, certain signs and markers remain, based on which Indra, the celestial king, restores Ayodhya and Samit Shikhar to their proper order. Therefore, it is indeed certain that this very location is the one from which liberation of countless Tirthankaras is assured. Such a doubt is also raised in the context of the places from which the Tirthankaras attain liberation. However, in that context, there remains no room for uncertainty or suspicion because from the very specific spot where a Tirthankara attains liberation, Indra marks it with a symbol for Nirvan Puja, liberation worship. Yeah. Acharya Samarbhadra, while offering praise to Lord Neminath in the Swayambhu Stotra, has indicated that Indra marked the place of liberation on Mount Girnar with a thunderbolt, Vajra. Therefore, it must be firmly understood that wherever these footprints, Karna Chinna, are present, those places are indeed, in essence, the original sites themselves. By holding such deep reverence upon reaching that place, a natural purity of disposition arises. A surge of devotional sentiment wells up. The feeling of detachment is awakened. The resolve for self liberation intensifies, and the maturation of inner sentiment occurs in a special manner. Here, one point is worth noting. All our Siddha Kshetras, abodes of liberated, are generally situated atop mountain peaks, whereas the sacred sites of Vaishnav tradition are mostly located on level group, on the banks of the Ganga by the seashore. The conveniences that are possible on flat land, how could such conveniences be possible atop mountain summits? Any construction of temple building done on the banks of the Ganga or by the sea would incur minimal expenditure and labor due to the easy availability of water and the presence of level ground. However, when construction is undertaken atop a mountain peak, when a temple is built, the expenditure becomes hundredfold. For even carrying a single sack of cement from the base to the summit costs 4 times more in labor than the original price of the materials. Every single item must be carried upwards from below. As a result, there is great hardship. The expenses are much higher, and arranging for materials and provisions becomes significantly more difficult. These These uneven and rugged parts of the mountain peak are filled with hardships. Earlier, people were somewhat accustomed to walking, but nowadays, even the practice has diminished. And even if someone does walk a little, it is only on clean, flat paths. Nobody walks on rough and uneven terrains anymore. Therefore, in today's time, such pilgrimages have become extremely arduous. Thus, a question naturally arises in people's mind: why are the pilgrimage sites of the Shraman Samskriti, ascetic tradition located specifically on mountain peaks? Why were they constructed atop mountains instead of on flat land? Shouldn't the convenience of the pilgrims have been considered as well? The more accessible these pilgrimage sites are, the more the general public can benefit from them. After all, Dharam should be universally accessible, easily attainable, and within everyone's reach. Oh
Stop.
dear. That's,
Stop.
yes, sir.
So we end with the question that why our pilgrim places are on mountain tops, and why the the monks preferred those places and not places which are easily accessible and where many people can visit easily, So that is the last question that we are going to discuss. Before that, so you see this 40 square kilometer area is the whole of Summit Shikharji. It is not the place that we visit, this is Parshvanath Stuk and this is Chandra Prabhu Bhagwan's Stuk. No, these are all symbolic representation. In fact, the whole 40 square kilometer rectangular area is the place from countless monks and Tirthankars have got to liberation. Okay. So whenever you go there, just think of the area that you are in, 40 square kilometer area. It's a very long area, and this whole area is supposed to be the place from where the monks have got liberated. Okay. And the other thing, the authenticity of all these, like why Summit Sikar is an eternal pilgrim sites and all, just the Indra, they put in certain signs and markers, okay? And based on that, these places have been identified to be eternal pilgrim sites, Ayodhya, Summit Sikar, and all these. So at different places, this is some historical findings that has been done by historians also, and it has been documented also, noted down also. So this seems to be all very genuine, that these are the places from where these Tirthakars have got liberated. The next question, last question that we were discussing. So why our pilgrimage sites are on mountain top, whereas the sacred sites of the Vaishnav and other traditions are all at ground level. Okay, so this is question that is the where we ended last discussion, and the answer is just coming, but I'm giving you an answer that our monks, they are already naked, possessionless monk. They don't have anything, they don't want to get anything from the worldly people, They want to just get themselves into self-introspective meditation all the time. When they are not able to concentrate on the self, then they write scriptures, or they go for alms, or they even instruct people, or they give guidance to the disciples who want to get initiated into monkhood. All these things only happen when they are not able to remain in themselves. Okay. So the primary objective of the monks is to remain in themselves. Okay. And with that purpose, they know that if I stay in a nearby place or where many people can access it, I will get disturbed by them. So they choose these places like that, where nobody would come for, traveling or visiting it for a picnic or something like that, So they want loneliness, and their prime focus is their own sadhana, that they don't require any material thing or a human thing with them for their spiritual upliftment. So for that reason, these sites are there at those places, and we should maintain the sanctity. We should not commercialize it so that many people can access, In Pavaguri, I think they have come up with that, what we call ropeway,
Way.
ropeway, no?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
So you can easily go there. No, this should be go like this, by walking through and, visiting those places. So that sanctity and the purity has to be maintained. So that the discussion is coming up. Before that, we will discuss something on the monks' routine. How do they go for alms? Why do they take repentance 3 times a day? And many other things about the monks. So that discussion is coming up, and then we will discuss meditation. And then the last point would be how do we maintain the sanctity of these pilgrim sites? Okay. So now coming up the question why they are on mountain tops. All these pilgrimage sites are on mountain types. Yeah. Okay. So start from here. Oh dear, this question. Soumya.
Yes, sir. Oh dear, the question would arise only if these pilgrimage sites had been established through deliberate planning, but these came into being naturally. Wherever were Tirthankars and ascetic saints engaged in self worship, Atmaradhana, and self discipline, wherever they entered deep meditation, those very places became Tirthas, sacred sites. The ascetics of Vaishnava tradition established their abodes along the banks of Ganga or the seashore. Accordingly, their tirthas came to be situated near the Ganga or by the seacoast. In contrast, our ascetics engage in self-discipline, atma sadhana, in secluded forests and on mountain tops. Therefore, our tirthas naturally came to be located in such remote forest regions and high peaks. What can be done about it? When uh, when this point is brought up, another question naturally arises. Why did our Tirthankaras and our saints choose such secluded places for Atma Sadhana? Because our dharma is a dharma of detachment, vitaragi, of self-realization and inner meditation. For self-contemplation, Atma Dhyan, a secluded place is the most conducive. The kind of solitude that is naturally found on these mountain peaks is not available elsewhere. Some people believe that by performing severe austerities under the blazing summer sun atop a mountain, by subjecting the body to intense suffering, one can destroy karmas. But this notion holds no merit. Drying out the body does not annihilate karmas. Karmas are destroyed only through self-devotion, atma and self-discipline, atma sadhana. There is nothing beyond self-discipline and self-devotion, self-realization and self-contemplation. To know the true eternal self that is distinct from non-self, par, and its modification, paryaya, this alone is self-knowledge, atma-gyan. This is right knowledge. To establish a sense of inner oneness with it is right belief, and to become fully absorbed or merged into it is right conduct, samyak charitra. In essence, this right conduct is in the form of self contemplation. In this, there is absolutely no role for drying out the body. If that is the case, then the same question inevitably arises. Why did our Tirthankaras and ascetics choose such places and such unfavorable environments for meditation? We observe that the very spots on Samechkar from where the Tirthankaras attained liberation have, in some instances, so little space that even a second person cannot stand there. On observing the peaks, it appears that most of the locations must have been similar. It is a different matter that today, for the sake of our own convenience, we have modified them in such a way that some people can now gather there. In reality, the matter is our ascetics deliberately chose such spots for meditation, places where even another person cannot sit beside them, precisely because if someone sits nearby, they are unlikely to remain silent, and these ascetics do not wish to speak to anyone at all. Conversation creates connection with the non self, and any contact with the non self becomes the greatest obstacle to meditation. First of all, hardly anyone would venture to such a great height on a mountain, and even if someone did, when there is no space beside to sit, how would they sit next to them? In this way, the mountain top naturally offers them solitude with ease. In the same way, even in scorching sunlight, they choose not to sit in the shade of a tree, but instead meditate in the open, fully exposed to the sun. If they were to sit under the dense shade of a tree during the blazing midday of summer, then even if not a human being, animals or birds would likely gather around them. Such presence too could disrupt their self absorption. To avoid this disturbance, they sit in the sunlight, not to burn away karmas with the heat of the sun, but to safeguard their meditation. Why do our Tirthankaras and our Muniraj dwell only in secluded forest? Why are they forest dwellers and not city dwellers? Because had they lived in cities, then our pilgrimage sites too would have been situated in cities, not in forests, not on mountains. In that case, we too would. In that case, we this is precisely the sorry where we were. Oh, okay. Have found all comforts and conveniences readily available at our places of pilgrimage. Our journey would have resembled a pleasurable picnic filled with enjoyment, not the exhausting one as it is today. O brother, is a pilgrimage undertaken for self upliftment or for enjoyment like a picnic? If one merely seeks pleasure, there are countless other places suited for that. Why defile sacred tirthas for it? Indulgence in amusement and sensual pleasures only taints the sanctity of these holy places. Pilgrimage is meant to intensify the spirit of renunciation, vairagya bhavna, not for merrymaking. Turning a tirth into a place of pleasure is not dharma. It is an assault upon dharma itself. As for the question of why Muni Rajas dwell in the forests, regarding this, a relevant passage from the author's other work, Panchas, Panchakalyanak Pratishtha Mahotsav, is worth noting. The more forest dwelling Muni Rajas remain away from the company of city dwelling householders, the greater is their capacity of inner discipline, Atma Sadhana. This is precisely why they renounce life in cities and choose to reside in forests. In comparison to the company of humans, they find the companionship of sorry, wild animals and birds less harmful because although these creatures may inflict minor physical discomfort, they do not disturb one's inner focus with idle talk. Householders, however, corrupt the monk's mental state through trivial worldly discussions. The very attachment and aversion, ragadvesh, that monks renounced to begin with, these householders, by some means or another, drag them back into the same entanglements. In the name of revitalizing tirthas, they make the monks participate in fundraising appeals, drag them into local councils, panchayat, run their own political agendas using the monks' names, and in some form or another try to integrate them into their politics. It is precisely to avoid the influence of householders that monks choose to dwell in forests. However, ahar, the need for food, is one necessity that inevitably brings them into contact with householders. Therefore, specific rules have been laid down as precautions. First, when monks enter a town with an intention of for seeking food ahar, they do so in silence, mourn. Second, they take their food while standing because sitting inside a house is not considered appropriate. The lesser the interaction with householders, the better it is. Silence as a means of distancing oneself from others is the most effective tool, and they adopt it fully. Second, where do they have the leisure to sit and eat in peace? Their aim is merely to fill the hollow of this stomach with pure and sattvic wholesome food, and that too only partially. To sit calmly and eat slowly to one's full content would be a waste of time for them. After all, when we ourselves are in a hurry for some task, do we pay attention to taste? Likewise, they too are eager to depart from the householder's place, eager to return to meditative equanimity, samaik, eager to resume their spiritual practice, atma sadhana. When children are absorbed in play, they don't sit down quietly to eat. Even after much urging from their mother, they eat just a little while standing and rush back to play. Their mind is in the game, they have no time to eat. In the same way, our Munirajas monks are absorbed in self contemplation. How would they have the leisure to sit and eat peacefully? In the same way, it is only natural to feel lethargic after eating a full meal. Therefore, for those Munirajas, ascetic monks who are to engage in spiritual equanimity for 6 ghadis after returning from ahar, How can a full meal that increases spiritual negligence, pramad, even be appealing to them? When students have examinations and must study late into the night, they too have a light dinner in the evening. Similarly, the Muniraja's ascetic monks also follow a path of minimal consumption. They partake only in pure and wholesome food, that too in small quantities, merely to sustain life. They do not live to eat, rather, they eat to live. If one eats a full meal, even drinking a sufficient amount of water becomes difficult, and thirst arises later. But the monks take water only at the time of eating. They do not drink water afterwards. Due to lack of water, the food will not digest properly, leading to constipation and many other ailments. Such conditions would hinder their pursuit of the self. Therefore, they consume only a small quantity of food. There is a deeper significance behind accepting ahar in the palm. If food is accepted on a plate, it would then have to be consumed while sitting. Taking ahar while standing is not feasible with a plate. Moreover, when using a plate, there is a possibility that, against the monk's wishes, someone might place an excessive or unsuitable quantity of food upon it. Since leaving leftovers is not considered appropriate, this could result in the monk consuming more than intended. The risk does not arise when food is taken directly into the hand. Even if someone happens to place something more than requested, how much can they possibly give? Perhaps just one morsel, nothing more. But with a plate, any quantity may be served, regardless of the monk's intent. The autonomy that one has while eating from the hand is not retained when eating from a plate. There is also this tendency that devotees do not refrain from displaying their affluence. If the monk were to begin accepting food in a plate, someone would offer it in a silver plate, another in a golden one. We even begin to adorn the idols of Digambar passionless lords with gold, silver, and precious jewels. If the people following the Digambar sect cannot ornament the idols with any jewelry or clothing, they instead decorate the surrounding ensemble. They dazzle the space with canopies and fly whisks. That which the Lord had renounced as trivial, those very objects we now array around them as embellishments. The tendencies of the passionate are inevitably infused with attachment. How they could such how then could such tendencies appeal to the dispassionate and detached Munirajas? This is precisely the reason behind the practice of receiving food in their own hands. You are already aware that when a Muniraj returns after Ahar, he must appear before the Acharya Shri preceptor and recount everything that transpired during the time of his conduct. If there has been any lapse, whether in mind, speech, or body, during that period, it must be confessed in full and appropriate atonement must be undertaken. Why is all this required specifically after the Ahar Charya? Because during the time of Ahar, association with householders becomes inevitable, and such association carries a greater likelihood of transgressions. From this very fact, one can infer how perilous the association of householders is for sadhus, monks. It is precisely to preserve the purity of this interaction that the rule has been instituted. After the Ahar Charya, the sadhu must go before the Acharya Shri, report everything that transpired, and undergo expiation as per the preceptor's instruction. Keeping this in mind, detached monks should make every possible effort to avoid association with householders. It is also the duty of householders not to invoke monks in worldly affairs. If they do get an opportunity for true association with the monks, then the discussion should only be about detachment. Munirajas renounce pre-designated food offerings. Their way of seeking alms is referred to as bee-like conduct. Just as a bumblebee or a honeybee extracts nectar from flowers with utmost care, ensuring not even the slightest harm befalls them, similarly, these ascetics too exhibit great delicacy. While drawing nectar, bees take such caution that they do not even place their weight upon the flower. They hover gently, buzzing in the air, and with their extremely fine stingers extract the essence in such a way that the flower's shape remains entirely unaltered, just as it was before. In the same way, Munirajas ensure that no harm of any kind comes to the householder from whom they receive alms. Therefore, they do not accept food that has been prepared specifically with them in mind. Whatever food the householder has prepared for their own personal consumption, if from that something is offered to the Muniraj, only that is accepted. If food is prepared with the intent of offering it to the Muniraj, then any initiated or intentional violence, arambhi hinsa, involved in its making becomes the Muniraja's share to bear. Thus, Munirajas do not wish anyone to cook specifically for them. For this very reason, they renounce pre-designated or intentionally prepared food, uddishta ahar. The truth of the matter is, why would a monk who has renounced the householder's life wish to remain amidst the company of householders? If he were to dwell in such company, then what was the point of renouncing worldly life in the first place? This is precisely the reason behind our sadhus and saints dwelling in forests, residing in mountain caves, engaging in self discipline upon the peaks of mountains. This is the secret behind why our tirthas are located atop mountainous summits and in secluded forested regions. The
Stop. So see, such a big discussion. The main purpose was why our tirthas are located atop mountain summits and in secluded forest regions. This was the question that Dr. Saab has so nicely and logically explained and giving the reasons that why it is there. And he also dwelt into the background of how the monk's life would be, what kind of alms they do take. So they don't take alms which is specially made for them. Okay. If they take, then they are not monks. And nowadays, if you see, there are biddings going on who will give the first ahar to the monk, and those biddings goes in lakhs of rupees. So everything is getting, all the systems is getting corrupted. It's very difficult to first to know the correct thing, and even if you know, then it is also difficult to practice. But that doesn't mean that you can compromise on principles, right? So everything has to be in a proper place. So we started the discussion from so 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 our pilgrim's place are on mountain tops, so many people would not access it. People would not disturb the monks. Their spiritual practice would go unhindered, and they sit on scorching sunlight just because uh, to to test their strength of spiritual practice. And the other thing is that even animals don't go there in this scorching sunlight. The other thing is that in the mountain tops, there are small rocks where only one people can sit or stand. So there is no question of another people coming nearby you or disturbing you in any way, because monks, they don't want to get disturbed in any way, right? They want to just they want to just engross themselves in their self. Then these pilgrimages are for self-upliftment and not for picnic. So you should not seek comforts and facilities in these kind of places. Let it be there in this natural uh, place only. And those who are really in want of those who are looking for such kind of places, they only will visit those places. But if the facilities are given and more comforts are given, then many people would visit those places, and the place would lose its sensitivity and purity. Okay. Indulgence in amusement and sensual pleasures only tends the sanctity of these holy places. Pilgrimage is meant to intensify the spirit of renunciation, vairagya bhavna, not for merrymaking. Turning a tirth into a place of pleasure is not dharma. It is an assault upon dharma itself. This has to be very clearly understood. So there is a passage of author's work in Panchkalyanak Pratishtha Mahotsav, and Dr. Bharilji only wrote, the more forest-dwelling Muniraj remain away from the company of city-dwelling householders, the greater is their capacity for inner discipline, Atma Sadhana. This is precisely why they renounce life in cities and choose to reside in forest. In comparison to the company of humans, they find the companionship of wild animals and birds less harmful, because all these creatures may inflict minor physical discomfort. They do not disturb one's inner focus with idle talk. Then what the householders do? They corrupt the monk's mental state through trivial worldly discussions. The very attachment and aversions that monks renounced to begin with, these householders by some means or another drag them back into the same entanglements. In the name of revitalizing tirthas, they make monks participate in fundraising appeals, drag them into local councils, run their own political agendas using the monks' names, and in some form or another try to integrate them into their politics. So these are not true monks, Those who indulge in such kind of activities, we can very well know that they are not true monks. Okay. It is precisely to avoid the influence of householders that monks choose to dwell in forest. However, ahar, the need for food, is one necessity that inevitably brings them into contact with householders. Therefore, specific rules have been laid down as precautions. So generally speaking, the monks only enter the town when they want to take their alms. Okay. Otherwise, they don't enter the town at all. They remain outside the town. There is a place made by the kings generally for the monks. It is called Vasatika. Okay. These are natural abundant places, and there they stay without any facilities for 1 or 2 days. While staying there, they come for alms in the town and then again go back to that place, and within a day or two they go to some other place. So this kind of vasatikas are made everywhere, all over the places where the people do dwell in towns and cities like that, but they never enter the main cities, like as we see now in metropolitan cities. The monks also dwell there and they do chomasas over there. So that was not the case earlier, but since it's a deteriorating time, all kinds of deteriorations we are seeing right now. It is precisely to avoid the influence. Okay, that is done. First, when one enter a town with an intention for seeking food, they do so in silence, mourn, they don't talk, Second, they take their food while standing, because sitting inside a house is not considered appropriate. The lesser the interaction with householders, the better it is. Silence as a means of distancing oneself from others is the most effective tool, and they adopt it fully. Second, where do they have the leisure to sit and eat in peace? Okay. Their aim is merely to fill the hollow of the stomach with pure and sattvic food, and that too only partially. To sit calmly and eat slowly to one's full content would be a waste of time for them. After all, when we ourselves are in a hurry for some task, do we pay attention for taste? Likewise, they too are eager to depart from the householder's place, eager to return to meditative equanimity. So their purpose is this, eager to resume their spiritual practice. And one more thing, they only go for alms only when they feel that their spiritual practice is hindering. Only that point of time they go and take alms. So for the purpose of taking alms is not for fulfilling body's requirement. It is for carrying out their spiritual practice in a proper manner. Okay. Then what discussions followed? Okay. So they take food. Generally, they were joint families in older times, and a particular family would have 30, 40, 50 people as a family. So if even 2, 3 monks come for food, it doesn't make a difference when food is being cooked for 40, 50 people. And that is called Atiti Samvibhag Vrat. Everyone devotes a portion of their food to the monks. They don't prepare separately for the monks. They prepare in their normal course and they stand outside their house at 10 o'clock in the morning. That is the time when the monks go for their alms, and they would call monks that please come to my place. Then they will say, my food is pure, my jal shuddhi, ahar shuddhi, man vachan kai shuddhi, and then they will do puja of the monks with the eight dravyas, and then they will offer the food. So this was the routine, the earlier householder used to follow, and every day they would look for some monks to come to their place, and then only they would consume food. So those were the days, but now everything has been fabricated, and the standards are getting lower, but the path will remain the same. The discipline would remain the same. We have to only learn those discipline and practice. Okay.
सबसे बड़ा पाप तो हम उद्दिष्ट आहार का करते हैं।
हाँ,
सर हमने चौका लगाया है, हमने आहार भी कई बार दिया है, बट ये उद्देश्य हम अपना खाना तो नहीं उनको देते हैं सर, अलग से ही अलग रूल्स अलग तरीके से बनता है उनके लिए। तो ये उद्दिष्ट आहार का पाप तो होता ही है।
हाँ, वो तो होता ही है, बराबर है। और मतलब अब क्या बोले, मतलब देर इज नो अवेयरनेस, कोई पढ़ते ही नहीं ना, नो बडी स्टडीज द स्क्रिप्चर्स। So if you just now we finished this Ashtapaud, you see so much of discipline. Acharya Kunkun have written that what kind of laxity could set in, why this should be avoided. So he was so strict on the disciplines of a monk, right?
तो
Better
उनके
you
साथ
better
ब्रह्मचारी
you
होते
remain
हैं।
an householder. If you are not able to become a monk, you would better remain an householder. But don't become a monk and then don't follow the rules, So that is the message that we got in Ashtapaud, and here also in Samet Sikar, we are learning such things. Yeah, you were saying something, Malti ji?
तो वैसे उनके साथ जो ब्रह्मचारी होते हैं, जो
हाँ,
LHC होते हैं, उनकी लिस्ट अलग से ही आती है सर। दिस इज अ
हाँ,
फैक्ट, दिस इज
right,
अ फैक्ट दैट वो
right, right.
उनका अलग ही
And there are biddings going on for that, 51 lakhs,
वो तो
first
बहुत ही खराब है,
ahar.
बहुत।
So now you have to decide what is truth and what is not truth, and share the truth with everyone, whomever we can. Okay. Uh, okay. So again, they take food standing only, and they take food in their hands only. They don't even use plate, because if they use plate, then somebody would put more into it, and if they put more into it, then they would have to eat more. Then their sadhana, spiritual practice, would not be done in a proper manner. So the monks take in their hands only, and so these are all the rules that a monk follow, a true monk should follow, and we should also understand that the R has to be given in this manner only. Okay.
Sir, but they get those patras, no, sir, in which we give them food.
No, that's there in Svetambar, not in Digambar.
That's in श्वेतांबर। So श्वेतांबर में कई प्रैक्टिसेस एक्चुअली अच्छी हैं, वहां पे ये उद्दिष्ट आहार नहीं होता, वहां पे वो सिर्फ घर
हाँ.
आते हैं और जो बना हुआ होता है वही लेके जाते हैं। दैट्स वेरी नाइस, वेरी सिंपल।
So from that perspective, it is nice. But again, भक्ष अभक्ष का तो विवेक नहीं है ना.
उनको नहीं है, सही, हाँ वो चीज होता है।
So see, कुछ थोड़ा चीज सब जगह अच्छा होगा, but like we want to have proper correct things, So right now is not the time, but again in future people would be there, householders would also be like that, and monks also, true monks will also be there, and the tradition would go on. This tradition would go on for another 18,005 years. Okay. So it's all written in the scriptures, and things will move that way only. Another thing, after returning from the ahar, monk should appear before the acharya and recount everything that transpired during the time of his conduct. They would see the householder's wife and they would remember their wife. the dark hairs and long hairs, and they would connect to their wife's hair, and all these thoughts come to their mind when they go and take alms. So that's why when returning from taking alms, they should report to the acharya and do pratikaman, repentance, atonement. So that is again a very compulsory practice that all the monks follow. In fact, this repentance happens 3 times a day, every day, minimum 3 times. And in special cases, many more times also. The idea is, if you don't maintain the level of transparency, if you don't confess to your guru, then how you will do the sadhana, spiritual practice? Okay. For a monk who has got rid of 3 levels of passions, Anantanubandhi, Apratyakan, Pratyakan Kashai, and the mildest Sanjwalan Kashai is present, at that level, 100% transparency is there. Okay. So they confess everything to the monk, and then monk also purify them with the punishment appropriate to them. And they again start doing their spiritual practice. Okay. This is the life of a monk. Okay, so now we are coming on to the discussion on meditation. Meditation is an integral part of a monk's life, because through meditation only we attain omniscience knowledge. Through meditation only we get liberated. And so the ultimate part, the ultimate of the austerities, there are 12 tapas, austerities, out of which meditation is the last one. And at the 10th place is Swadhyay. So Swadhyay has been considered the chief of all, because without Swadhyay we will not know the actual nature of each of the austerities. Why should we do Anshan? Why should we do Anmodarya? There are purposes for that. Okay. So everything is given in their scriptures. So if you do Swadhyay of the scriptures, you will understand everything. You will understand what is right, what is wrong, what is to be renounced and what is to be adopted. So all these things we will know. Okay. So now the discussion is coming on the Dhyan. Hemali, you read that. The Dharma of steadfast from there.
Yes, sir. The dharma of steadfast and valiant sadhus and saints is solely meditative absorption. It is in the state of meditative absorption, which is dhyan, alone that omniscience, keval gyan, is attained and infinite bliss is realized. In fact, the Dravya Sangra even states that the path to liberation, both from the real point of view and from the conventional point of view, is attainable only through meditative absorption. The
What happened? Your internet connect, you are on mute.
Oh, sorry. Oh, did earlier when I was eating, could everybody hear?
No, the only last half a minute.
Okay, the original verse from Dravya Sangra is as follows. Duviham pi mukhinam jane paunadi jam muni niyam tamha payati chitta juyam janam samabhasa. Both from the real point of view and both from real viewpoint and conventional viewpoint, the path of liberation is realized only through meditation. Therefore, O Muni, practice meditation with effort and diligence. This meditative absorption can truly occur only in solitude. For its accompaniment, ascetics renounce home and family to dwell in forests and wilderness. However, nowadays, influenced by the ways of others, some people have started practicing meditation in groups, sitting together in air-conditioned hall to meditate collectively. Oh, brother, if the accomplishment of meditative absorption were possible by sitting with one's family in air-conditioned rooms, then what was lacking in the homes of our Tirthankar? Would they not have a single air-conditioned chamber? Oh, brother, Shantinath was not only a Tirthankar but also a Chakravarti. What could he possibly have lacked? In fact, all the Tirthankars were princes, were kings. None of them lacked anything. Yet, for the attainment of meditative absorption, they went into the forests, renounced family, home, and family. They ascended to the peaks of mountains, of which direct evidence is presented by Tirth places like our very own Summit Shikhar. Some people respond to this by saying that in air conditioned room, one doesn't feel the heat, so the mind settles easily in meditation, that the absence of flies and mosquitoes prevents disturbance. But, dear brother, those who concern themselves with heat and cold are not true meditators. Even ferocious beasts like lions could not disturb the meditation of our Muni Rajas. And you say your meditation is hindered by mere flies and mosquitoes? For meditation, the truly secure place is not an air conditioned home, but the dense forests nestled in the lap of nature, the mountain ranges. If anyone has ever attained omniscience, Keval Gyan, while sitting in an air conditioned hall, do let us know. But there are innumerable souls who have indeed attained Keval Gyan atop mountain peaks, such as those of Samit Shikhar. Those who sit in these air conditioned rooms often do not even know what the object of focus they is. What is what it is that they are meant to meditate upon. Without a clearly known object of focus, no true meditation can ever occur. Neither are they aware of the object of focus, nor have they made any attempt to understand it. Yet, without any contemplation or clarity, they claim to be meditating. Meditation too is gradually becoming a fashion, a luxury item. In today's time, it has turned into a lavish indulgence for the newly rich. Under the labels of yoga, pranayam, breath regulation, and dhyan, people now merely seek relaxation and stress relief. They have reduced meditation to a means of lowering tension and managing blood pressure. The meditation that was once a means to attain omniscience is now being used to relieve the stress of the nouveau riche. What could be a greater mockery of meditation than this? Today, meditation is being used like a medicine for physical health, the very body for which the first six of the 12 contemplations, bhavanas, are dedicated to generate detachment and to break the illusion of unity. This very body, whose impermanence, helplessness, worthlessness, separateness, and impurity are continuously contemplated upon by the devout for the attainment of meditation. Today, we are using the sacred practice of meditation to strengthen that very body. The meditation that was meant as a remedy for the disordered soul is now being applied to the treatment of the body. Should we call this the fault of the Kali Yuga, age of downfall, or the unfortunate outcome of our long standing ignorance? Whatever the case may be, this matter should not be left unexamined. It must be seriously reflected upon.
Stop.
Today, even our
Stop.
supremely sorry.
So this is the end on discussions on meditation. Okay. So a true meditation should be in the dense forest, nestled in the lap of nature, the mountain ranges. If anyone has ever attained omniscience while sitting in an air condition, do let us know. But there are innumerable souls who have indeed attained Keval Gyan atop mountain peaks, such as those of Samit Seeker. So meditation should not be used as a means for health, managing blood pressure, managing stress. No, no health benefit. Meditation is only for our spiritual upliftment. Okay. Self-absorption, happiness, enjoying eternal bliss. That is the purpose of meditation. So first, meditation object of focus should be very clear. What would be your object of vision? Okay. Drashti ka vishay. Okay, Bhagwan Atma, that you understand properly, and then the meditation will follow. Why we are not organizing meditation camp and all? Why? Because how do you meditate? First you have to decide on the object of focus, where you want to focus, right? So if that subject is not decided, how do you can meditate without knowing the object of focus? Okay. So one example I would like to give. Supposing there is a boy who is 25-year-old and he is not engaged also, right? So you tell him that you meditate on your wife, meditate on your fiancé, not wife, fiancé, because he's not even engaged. But he will not be able to meditate. Now get him engaged to a girl and tell him not to meditate on your wife, not to meditate on your fiancé. But all the time while talking, eating, doing jobs, is the picture of his fiancé would come in his mind. Why? Because this is the true meditation. First you decide on the object of focus, then the focus will automatically done. So this is how the true meditation should be done. So our all effort should be to decide on the object of focus. So object of focus is our pure soul, and that's why we are reading Jinvani, to know the exact nature of the pure soul. Okay, and once you have decided on the nature, image of the pure soul, then it is easy for you to meditate. In fact, even if you don't want to meditate, meditation will automatically happen, because you have now defined the purpose of your life. You know that liberation will only happen if I keep on meditating on my pure soul. If I can concentrate on myself for 48 minutes, I will manifest omniscience knowledge, and then subsequently I get liberated. Okay. So first we have to decide what is the object of focus, and then of course the meditation will follow. And this kind of meditation is only possible in dense forest, nestled in the lap of nature, the mountain ranges, the lonely places, conducive to this kind of meditation only. Okay. So meditation is not a means for physical health, and it should not be done collectively in an air-conditioned hall, and all these are not correct. Okay. Now we are coming on to the last part. By reading this article, the conclusion should be that we should maintain the sanctity and the purity of these pilgrimage sites. Whatever we have, okay, whatever is available, let's not further deteriorate it by bringing in modern comforts and facilities over there. Okay, let it be there. Only the seekers would go there, and they are the genuine seekers, and they will really enjoy those vibes and atmosphere over there, and their spiritual upliftment will definitely happen. Okay, so our responsibility is what we are going to discuss last, and I am only reading that. Only few paragraphs are left. Today, even our supremely sacred tirthas are being turned into picnic spots. These forested regions too are being transformed into modern towns, or new tirthas are being developed in such a way that all kinds of luxuries and conveniences are available. Yet no one stops to consider that by equipping these sacred places with modern comforts, their essential nature will be completely lost. With the entry of things like television and VCR, this book was written 30 years ago, though that time VCRs were there, now no more. With the entry of things like television and VCR, even the serenity of these spaces will be disturbed. If this happens, then these places too will cease to be sites of soul-centered spiritual practice, Atma Sadhana, spiritual practice, and will become ordinary places like any other. It is of utmost importance to preserve their original essence. Our pilgrimage sites are the abodes of the detached ones, the renunciants, and the spiritual aspirants. It is not appropriate to turn them into places of indulgence, not to adorn them like the haunts of pleasure seekers. Maintaining them clean and equipping them with essentials for a disciplined life is one thing, but introducing means of entertainment, setting up gardens for leisure, providing facilities for inappropriate consumption, and allowing the entry of television and VCRs is entirely unsuitable. These are places meant for living with restraint, meant for leading a simple life, going there adorned in ornamentation, living a life lacking in restraint. Such conduct diminishes their noble sanctity. These places ought to be transformed into centers of meditation and study. There should be only institute where only the seekers should come. They should come for study, say 1 month. They stay there, study the scriptures, understand, and go there and practice in their home at their places. Okay, so they should be a places of institute. Okay, these places ought to be transformed into centers of meditation and study. There should be arrangement for in-depth study of Jain philosophy. The environment here must be spiritual, marked by spiritual discussions and meaningful dialogue. Their true glory and greatness lies in this. This is just as our Tirthankars and ascetic saints engaged in self-purification. So too may these holy pilgrimage sites inspire the same through their very atmosphere. Okay. Tirthraj Samet even today remains far removed from the glare of modern glamour and is fully capable of imparting the sacred inspiration for self-upliftment. May this sanctity remain forever preserved, and may this Tirthraj continue to offer sacred inspiration for self-realization to noble souls for all eternity. With this auspicious sentiment, I conclude. So this article was written 35 years ago, maybe. Nowadays, again laxity has set in. Some modern equipments have come in. Nowadays, people go top of the mountain on bikes, there are bikes available. So things have become easy. Of course, dolly were always there, but now the bikes have come. But the actual thing is that you study and meditate. Okay. These are the two things that will lead us to liberation. So do a proper study, understand the nature of the pure soul, which is an object of focus, and then do focus. Samjho or samajao. This is the shortcut. Okay. Samjho what? Samjho soul's nature, pure soul's nature. Okay. And samajao, then get absorbed in it through meditation. That's all. Okay. So, of course, things will go on like this, but those who are seeker, I can share right now that there is a complex that is coming up there in Samet Shikharji. It's being made by people under the guidance of Pandit Sumit Prakashji, my mentor. And I have been to Shikharji in last 1 year, 3-4 times. And earlier also I had been to Shikharji one month, and I like the place very much. Only if you go to the mountain, we go every day to the mountain, 4-5 kilometers down the that mountain, and not the traditional way where every pilgrimage go, but slightly different path. There nobody comes. Even only you will find monkeys and some animals over there. Nobody goes on those sites. And we go every day. Sit there for 1 hour, 2 hours, 3 hours, and then come back. Every day we go. It's just 5-6 kilometers up and not the whole 30 kilometers that we go. Okay. And there we just sit there and then think and do studies. So if you go and experience in that way, you will really find the place still offers enough for us to pursue our spiritual pursuits, and it is indeed an eternal sacred abode. Okay, Samet Shikharji, eternal pilgrimage site. It's really an eternal pilgrimage site, and we should go for that purpose only. Okay. So our time is also over and our syllabus is also over, and LCPA will start from today. We have already shared the questions. So the third question pertains to the Samit Shikharji, and so today your LCPA date will also begin, and also I will share with you the Viva questions that are left over, and that I'm sharing today, and that we will do one-to-one. Okay. Post I'll set the date. Post that we will do it. You have to within 3-4 minutes, you have to describe your journey so far in this Parmagam honors course. 2.5 years you have been here. You have to tell me what you have gone through, what were the challenges, and how you will be able to cope it, and what are the gains from it. Okay. So 3-4 minutes you will speak about this, and then I will ask 2 more questions based on that, and all will be general questions, not academic questions, but something related to where you can further go up in your spiritual upliftment. Okay. So that I'm going to share today itself. So that will end, that last date for that would be 10th July. Okay. So today we are closing, and there will be a 15 days gap, and then again on the 6th, it's not 6th, I think 4th of July is Saturday. So we will begin the new session on 4th of July, and maybe around 20th July, we will again break for 10 days. Okay, 10-12 days, we will break for 10-12 days. So we will have 2-3 classes in the interim, and then we will break, and then we will continue. So we are starting the session in from 4th July itself this time, and then we will have a break in the interim. Okay. So I'll share everything, and 15 days is the time that you have got to finish all your assignments. Yeah.
So for the test, the upcoming test for
Objectives.
paper 1, will you tell us what all will come and where do we find that?
Why?
Paper 1,
Paper 1, what we had paper 1 here, Tatvat Sutra, no?
Okay. Paper 1 is Tattvad Sutra.
I shared the syllabus just few days back.
Oh, okay, okay. Sorry, sir.
Let me see where it is.
So
Yeah.
paper 1 is postmark Prakashik, huh?
1 minute.
Yeah, Mokshmar Prakashak last bit.
So we are on the 5th sem now. So Mokshmar Prakashak's 6th and 8th chapter. That is paper 1 objective. Okay. Then we have Tattvad Sutra, paper 2 objective. Along with that, no, only Tattvad Sutra 2 is there. Then we have third paper is this one, Ashtapaud and Samit Sikar for objectives. Okay. So these objectives are going to start from 5th July, and it will go on up to 31st July. So can appear anytime. And you prepare 15 days time is what you have got to prepare, and then we will connect back for the 6th semester, and the Tattvad Sutra 9th and 10th chapters are left, so that we will finish, and then we will move on to, in this semester, 6th semester, we have Samadhi Maran, peaceful death. Okay. Then we have Nai Chakra guide, 8 Nayas, 4 Vyavarne and 4 Nischayne. We have already done it, but it's going to be done in a detailed manner in this Nai Chakra guide. Then we have Panch Kranak, 5 auspicious events. It's a self-study like Samit Sikar. And then we have Gunasthan Praveshika, single paper, all the 14 stages of spiritual development. So this syllabus for this sem is pretty small syllabus, you know. We can finish in 30-35 hours. But we will do it properly only. But in one of the classes, you know, the teacher could not resume the classes, and 3 months has passed. So this was 6th time, I remember. And then Swanubhuti ji told me that these 3 months have passed and this teacher has not started. So could you cover up for this sem? So I said, okay. And then I did that the whole 6th sem in 30 hours. 30 hours. students were all from Bhopal. It was a Bhopal batch, and all the students were there. And that same day, I was taking the classes, and my father expired at the same time. So I remember I was just finished my class, and my father expired. So I remember that particular. So it was 30 hours flat, but we will be doing it in 40 hours, maybe 30, 38, 40 hours. Whatever it may be, we will do it in a proper way. But 15 days is the time you finish all your assignments. I don't want anyone to lag in this time for any of the assignments. Okay. And while we connect for that Viva
But
one-to-one,
assignments on Moodle is not important, no? I can't, there is a problem getting back to Moodle.
Moodle is okay. You can send me the mail. You can send me through mail. No problem. But Moodle somewhere, now I think it has improved, no, Himali?
So I still can't seem to find it.
So
The assignments don't appear there. The assignments you want to upload, वो दिखते ही नहीं है वहाँ पे.
They are on the left side, no? Upload.
Are the CC3 and all there? I can't
So
see
what
it.
you can do, Maltiji, you can call Himali, and
Fine.
while you are assessing the site, you call Himali and you can coordinate and get it done.
Fine.
Okay, no problem. Okay, anything else? Okay, so we meet up on 4th July, and by that time you finish your of this assignments. Okay, okay. निज निधि निज में पताई, यह अनंत उपकार है उसके लिए, जिन वाणी माँ को वंदना सत बार है उसके लिए, जिन वाणी माँ को वंदना सत बार है. 9 times नमोकार मंत्र.